Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today I am going to go over the You Need a Budget. I'm still going to be doing the Budget by Paycheck workbook, but this is just an extra tool for me to help with my planning. So we're just going to get right into it. I do have some notes because this is only the second time I've come in here and really deep dive kind of exploration on video, so I needed to make myself some notes. So the first thing I wanted to do was look at the checking account and approve and categorize some things. So I had a deposit. My daughter gave me $300 plus another $10 as a reimbursement for something that I helped get in Google, which is right here, as a matter of fact. So I need to set that as a ready to assign because it's cash. It went in and it needs to be given a chore to take care of, so I'll do that. And also, while I'm doing this, I'm actually approving the transaction. And by the way, I do get like texts on the YNAB app on my phone, but because I knew I was going to be recording this and I wanted to kind of experience that in here, I thought I would just wait to do that approval part when I do this. The other thing is, this was my I had to get some supplements from Amazon, and I just need to put this in healthcare. All right, good. Now, the other thing is this right here is to approve the transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this because I know it's coming out, and I'm going to approve this because that has also come out. I think one of them hasn't cleared, but no, maybe they've all cleared. I looked earlier today and now I can't remember which one's cleared and which one's not. So that's what I wanted to do in the checking, is to approve and categorize. Now what's going to happen, because I originally at the last we met I had $0 ready to be assigned, but because I just approved this deposit, and by the way, I have more money to deposit on Monday because my son, so currently my daughter lives with me, but she's getting ready to move out. Her two children, I have two grandsons, they're also here. And then also, and obviously she's an adult. My adult son, who went back to school, he also moved into the basement, and he has been saying he was going to help contribute to the household, and he has started doing that. So I have $250 to deposit into the account, and that's to cover a couple $100 for expenses. And then also he borrowed money a couple days ago. He was running a little bit short, and I gave him my debit card, and he went out and made a purchase, but he also wanted to cover paying that back. So that's included in that money that I will deposit on Monday. So they live in the house and they're contributing to the household funds, and that's where these cash deposits come from. I don't ask for anything, and I don't have an expectation that they give me anything. However, I think it's good practice for them to know that if they have an agreement with someone, whether it's to pay for a cell phone bill or a rent, that they follow through with those commitments. So this is just helping. Even though it's not like a ton of money, it still does help them get in the habit of making those payments when they should. And they are adults, they know how to do all this stuff, but it still reinforces that life is not free. So that's everything that needs to be done here. I think we are good to go into, now the next thing I want to do is go into plan, and in plan I'll be doing some assignments, and then also I need to cover a shortfall that's going to happen in September. When we did the Budget by Paycheck workbook and I was setting up September, I noticed that I really am going to need a little bit extra funds in September to cover the expenses because it's not going to be quite enough. And this is because in September I get paid on August 29th, and I'll use that to cover the first part of the expenses, but then I don't get paid again until September 16th. I have two major expenses that come out on the 15th that is usually covered by my second paycheck, but they're going to clear before that second paycheck comes, and that is this Roth IRA for $625, and also the final payment for the season tickets for the local hockey team. So both of these are kind of causing the first part of the month to be short. And really it's roughly about $50, but because I'm adding the, normally I would have extra money at the end of the first paycheck of the month, but because these two need to be applied, then I just need to cover it with a little something extra here at the end of August, and so I'm going to plan that when we go into planning. All right, so I do have overspent and I do have ready to assign. So again, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. I just realized it's kind of small. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better for you. Okay, excellent. So first let's go in and look and see what's in overspent and understand what's going on here. So this is an uncategorized transaction and it's a purchase from Amazon. And it just needs to be categorized. And it's interesting because I thought I put that in here. Let's just go look at this $10. Oh, I didn't apply it. I thought I did. Oh, I probably just didn't hit save. Again, totally new to YNAB, so you're going to see me make some mistakes. And if you see me doing something that's like really missing the point of YNAB, I welcome comments. I do. I welcome it. So let's do a categorize. And this is, I was sure I wrote down, I said health and dental, but I think I just must have forgotten to hit save. And I'm just going to put supplemental. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so that should cover that in plan. Let's go back and see if it does. There we go. Oh, I'm trying to figure out how to close this. 0 overspent. Okay, so it did cover the uncategorized, and I don't have anything that's unfunded at this time. So this is the new money that got put in, but recall if you were in my last YNAB video, I set aside $1,300 hoping that at least part of it will go towards my credit card debt. And as a reminder, let's go back here, I do owe $3,605 on my credit card debt. I want to pay it off by October, so I just need to try and make that happen by then. Let's close this and now talk about this money and this money. So I'm going to take the set aside and I'm going to move it out, and we're going to try and put it towards some of the expenses for make sure that the remainder of the month is covered, and then also start putting money into the first 2 weeks of September, so that I have a little bit of confidence that I'll be able to pay all of my bills for the next month. So let's go ahead and unassign all of this, because this is money that has not been assigned. I had it set aside specifically to work on my debt. So now I have $1,637 ready to be assigned, and the first thing I'm going to do is just go through and I'm going to look at, so here are all my categories. I'm just going to open them up and I'm going to look at each one in turn and see if there's anything I need to assign. I can see nothing is saying it's underfunded, but there are some things in here that I would like to transition to where my regular bills, my utilities and my variable expenses, they are covered half and half for each of my paychecks. And so what that means is my $1,100 mortgage, well, the paycheck that I get at the start of the month will cover half of it, and the paycheck that I receive at the last 2 weeks of the month cover half of it. And so I think what the first thing I want to do is cover half of my mortgage for next month. Okay? And so based on my understanding of how this works is I would go into September and I would go into my mortgage, and if I click on this, it'll tell me that I need this much amount of money each month. Well, I can take this and put in here and say 1147.12 divided by 2. And then that will give me half of what my mortgage is for next month. So that will cover from August half of what's going to happen in September 1st. I hope this is making sense. The other thing that is that 625, and of course next month is a little bit different in that the 625 needs to come out at the first part. So I'm going to find for September the Roth contribution, and that is actually all the way down in long-term goals and investments. That's how I have it categorized. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to say 625 divided by 2, and that'll cover half of that. So half of that is funded, and then my next paycheck on August 29th will cover the other half. Okay. What else? So we also talked about the fact that the other one that was going to be hitting on the 15th was that final September. No, actually it's October is the last payment now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, October. That payment for the hockey season tickets. I believe that's in entertainment. Yeah, it is. And I need to adjust this. So I'm going to put October. Okay, so I'm going to fund half of this. So if we look over here, 146.88, so I'm just going to say 146.88 divided by 2, and there we go. So that has taken up a lot of what I hoped was going to go towards, and I'm sorry if this is shaking. What I was hoping will go towards the debt, but we're still okay, and I'm going to show you why here in just a second. So first I'm going to explain that when I got the debt, I did a little bit of investigating, and it was a little over $8,000. Investigated whether or not it would be better to set up a 0% interest account or leave it where it was and come up and do this agreement where I am charged a monthly fee, no interest on the amount, but I do have to pay a monthly fee. The monthly fee is about $71, and I have agreed to make sure that that full $8,000 is paid by November. There's no penalty if I pay it off early. The agreement will be concluded at the end of that period in November, or when I have a zero balance on my credit card on the credit card statement date. So my plan is to by October go ahead and have that zero balance, and that way I will not have to pay that extra $71 that I agreed to pay. So to that end, I have to pay a certain amount every single month, and my minimum balance that is noted on my statement actually tells me that. And specifically, and I'm just going to confirm this, right? I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at my August bill. Yes, so the minimum payment on my card says it should be $1,420.84, and that's per my agreement with them to pay it off at a certain time with no interest, just that service fee. So every month I have to pay that $1,400 in order to be in line with what the agreement is. I have already paid, gosh, we can go check. Let's go find out. Let's go back to September. Actually, let's go here. MasterCard. I've already paid 1090, 76, and 38. So this is all going to count towards that total. So roughly I only need to put in another $400 or so, a little bit less. When I go into the checking account, or excuse me, when I go into plan and I go look at my credit card debt, so if we look at this and I go into the actual credit, I have put into the system, I have a payoff balance by October, and they're saying that if you want to achieve that goal to pay off all of the funds that's in there, you need to assign an additional $465 to that account to meet that goal. So based on what I'm seeing here, I have adequate funds to cover that. I would like to put more in because then that means every month I have to apply less and less, right? And next month, obviously, maybe a little bit light at the beginning of the month, but of course by the end of the month I'll have almost, $800 extra. So, in the end, where my bills are hitting is just a fluctuation of which paycheck needs to pay for it. It's not a fluctuation of how much I actually have to spend in the whole month. And I always have I have 2 checks every month that will cover my expenses. That's a given. And then the number of, barring any major purchases that I have to make, the expenses are they're pretty consistent. So looking at this based on what my credit card company has said and based on what I'm looking at here in YNAB with the information I put in, they're pretty much in agreement on how much I need to put in there to meet that October goal. So that's great. And that's actually one of those things that I wanted to point out. It's on my list of things to talk about was the payoff settings, which I think is excellent. Excellent tool there. I'm sure you can do it with a spreadsheet. I'm sure you could go in and ask ChatGPT to do the same calculations for you, but I like having it in here where I know how I have all of this ready to assign. So let's go back. We exploring September and trying to help make September a little bit easier to manage because of when I'm receiving my paychecks. I think I'm covered here. I feel pretty confident that everything is going to work out based on how much I've just assigned. Half of my mortgage is covered, half of the Roth IRA is covered, and half of the season tickets is covered. And that should be adequate, more than adequate, to cover any shortfall that I'll have at the start of the month. So I'm going to go back to August. And by the way, there's this little thing that you can put in here to make notes. So the first thing I did was the shortfall. I also made a note about the YouTube Premium is canceled, and at the end of this month, I believe it's on the, I can't remember if it's the 30th. Sometimes at the end of the month, I'm no longer going to have YouTube Premium, but I'll have to resubscribe, and I will go to a yearly single YouTube Premium subscription. So I just wanted to make a note to myself that that needs to happen. And then, of course, the Sunflower Festival is coming up, which is super exciting trip. I love it. I just wanted to note that because, typically I spend some money there, but I think I'm going to I think I'm just going to be happy to spend some time with my daughter, have a good time walking around, chatting, talking about her new house, of course. Just generally enjoying the time and not being so worried about wanting to buy gifts for people. I will buy lunch, our early dinner. I guess I'm not sure. It'll be in the early afternoon, late afternoon that we're going to have something to eat. I'll cover that. She said she wanted to cover the tickets and we usually buy a t-shirt while we're there as a memento. So those are my notes. Let's figure out what we're going to do with this 677. And it could be that what we do is we put it back in temp and we say, okay, well, at the end of the month, when I get my next paycheck, that'll be on Friday, we'll take whatever's left over, which will be roughly 677. and we'll apply it to the credit card. And that's a plan. That's an assignment that it would have, but I use this as set aside just for planning purposes. So let's go in and first take a look and just make sure that everything's covered. Of course, the mortgage was at the first, and I didn't start doing YNAB until a little over a week ago. So this doesn't come into play until next month. Maintenance and repairs, I've already paid $24 for the service plan for it includes any electric, plumbing, and heating and air conditioning, because that company it does a lot of stuff. So I will have that for a year. It will end next June. So every month I'll have a $24 charge. And if they come in and do anything, for example, when I start planning for doing the work to fix what's going on with my stairwell, I actually I can't remember if it's a 10 or a 15% discount. Any work that they will do for me, this will apply a discount to whatever work they do. And any work that I say, hey, I want you to give me a quote on, there'll be no fee for them to come out and assess the situation. So that's the way that works. So it could be that I may get them to do something, but I don't think that I'm going to need anybody to be doing any plumbing or electrical for what's going to be happening to fix that. So that's what that is. I'm just going to go ahead and close this. In utilities, I already have everything assigned that I need to, and everything has actually come out. So we're in good shape. I don't want to apply anything to the gas or the AEP, because I feel like with those three assignments that I just made to cover half of those three bills are going to be adequate to cover for the first half of the month, next month. Pet care, I will... No, I don't need to do anything else this month. The cats are going to need some food real soon, probably the first part of September, but we don't need it this month. Everything's covered. Everything has been paid for, so we're good in pet care. The other thing I think I mentioned is I'm going to need to call the vet, and I haven't done it yet, just to get the feline leukemia second shot done. And variable expenses. All right, let me just make sure that the sound is, yes, the sound's running. And my headphones said, sometimes they do that. They'll just randomly turn off. I don't know why. All right, let's go back. Okay, so I still have $120. I am absolutely going to go to the grocery store again, probably mid to late next week. It'll probably be a Walmart run, because there's some Amy's TV dinners that I want to pick up that are that I ran out, and I just wanted to go get a handful more to have as backup for quick foods. Health and dental. It says I have $15 because I expected to spend $26. I only spent $10 this month. I will probably just at the end of the month let that ride till next month, because I would like to have a health and dental balance. And I do have this listed that, I thought I had it listed as, I probably need to have like a health and dental balance just sitting there every month, maybe $20 or so. But I'm not going to deal with that right now. I'll have to think about it. There's still some things that are in flux, and like having these variable expenses here, and then also having the sinking funds here. If you see, I have a healthcare sinking funds down here, but I think that's for, like, let's just say I crack a tooth and I am going to have this dental thing. I know it's going to happen next month. She wants a deposit now, but she wants the balance next week. That's to cover like these major things that might come up. So that's a little bit different than just having a spending account as opposed to a saving in case of like extra expenses that I need to cover. So I do think that some of these variable expenses need to have both the spending for the month and the sinking funds. Again, all in flux, just me trying to work out how this is going to work best. I have seen other YouTubers do it that way where they have multiple accounts. I've heard people say, I'm tired of having a spending account and a savings account for the same expense. So, for now, I think I'm going to go for the two, one spending, one saving. Personal, again, this is another one of those things where I wouldn't mind just having an amount there that's available just for general spending. This should hopefully be done by, so so this is, it's like, really, it depends. When I pay off that credit card debt depends on whether or not I'm going to get assessed that charge in October. If it's possible, if I pay it off before October, say 14th or 15th, I would avoid the $70 service charge if I had that zero balance when the statement triggered. So I may or may not have another 2 months of this. I may just have one. I could have three. I mean, who knows? I can't even, yeah, it could be anything. But this is just the amount that I will have to pay while I hold a balance. I have a random and uncategorized for, honestly, a lot of it is like when the kids say, hey, can I have your credit card to go, or not credit card, debit card to go over to get something? And I'm like, yeah, here you go. If they're short, or for example, if I buy something on like the Google account, because right now the grandkids' accounts are linked to my accounts, but they won't be for long. Things like that, where I know I'm probably going to get reimbursed, or I have an expectation that I'm going to be reimbursed, and I just put it in uncategorized. So that's that. I don't really need to put anything in there, again, because the month is almost over. I don't have any plans to use that. Goods and supplies, I've got plenty of toilet paper, plenty of paper towels, so those are the things that you would typically expect to see in here. Plenty of shampoo, all that stuff I've got. I don't really need anything for the household. Furniture, I just have there. I'm not going to have to put anything. None of this. I am going to eventually do Chat GPT. However, I need to get through my debt first. So maybe by the end of the year, I'll sign up for this $20 a month service. Transportation, I still have not needed to get gas. I still have not needed to get gas. I know it's coming, but I'm not going to fill it up if I don't need to. I'm just going to let it sit tight. It's going to be soon. I don't know if it'll be by the end of the month, though. It'll just depend on how much running around I'm doing. Car insurance is not till next month. I again, with those covering half, I think I'm fine with that. I am going to need a oil change within the next, say, 2 or 3 months. And really, I'll want to beef car. Here it is, vehicle maintenance and repair. I'll probably want to beef this up before, I'm pretty sure it's December that I'm due for an inspection and an oil change. So I'll need to figure out when. Maybe I'll make a note. Let's do that. Oops. December. Inspection and oil change. Oh, tires. My tires are looking a little bit rough, so I'm going to have them check that out as well, which is going to be a much bigger expense than those other two topics. So I am going to have to start planning for that. Something. It's always something. don't have to worry about the property tax or any of those because yeah, they're not for a while yet. So I don't need to cover anything. Eventually, I don't need to cover anything this month, but eventually, I'm going to have a target. I'm going to say, hey, if I know I'm going to have to put $100 in July, or excuse me, $200 in May next year, then of course I need to start applying money to it every month. But for now, I'm happy to just pay off my debt and then start worrying about those kind of things. First things first, yeah? Entertainment, I do have some things funded that I haven't drawn yet, so that's $7.99. Oh, I do need to do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and cover this because I know, and I say September because I think what I'll want to do is wait until September 1st because the very last day, I think is the last day of August or the next to the last day. I don't remember the exact date. So I know even if it's the last day of August or the first day of September, I know I'm going to get paid once more. So I think what I'll do is I'll cover half of this right now. So $139.99 divided by 2. So I've got $70 going in there. And then I'll be at least halfway there to pay for that yearly subscription there. And again, the same thing. I will eventually be planning in such a way that I will have sinking fund amounts that will be able to cover these things when they hit. That's the plan. Amazon Kids is not till December. I'll have sinking funds to cover that when the time comes. I'm not worried about that at all, and I don't need to apply anything this month. With respect to hobbies, I can't. So first of all, I'm still working on a shirt that I've been trying to make for my son. So I need to finish that before I start another crochet project. I really wanted to make a new sunflower bag for the Sunflower Festival this year. And the reason why is because when I found the pattern to make sunflower purses, whenever I get like a pattern that I haven't tried before or a technique that's somewhat new to me, what I do is I create a test run first. And so I created a test run using yarn that I had in my stash. It wasn't very good yarn. It was just inexpensive, but still decent yarn. And so I created one with a white base, and then of course they're granny squares and I use the right colors for the granny squares. And I mean colors that look like a sunflower. So, it has some obvious imperfections. The weight of the yarn for the white yarn was a little heavier than the weight of the yarn. So again, it looks great, but it's not my favorite. The one that I did my daughter, we have a rust, really fall amazing color that is the base of the bag, and then of course the granny squares stitched together, and hers looks so much better than mine. And I think what I want to do is create one that is the base is denim colored. I've also made another one where the base is it's a sage color. I made it for another friend of the family. And I really liked that one too, that sage. So I'm not sure which one I want, but again, I've got to finish Matt's shirt first because it's really a summer shirt, and it's just taking a really long time because the yarn is, I mean, honestly, it looks like thread. It's I think it's silk and what is the other ingredient? It's a natural material, and I can't remember what it's called. Well, anyway, it's very, very fine, and it's just taking a really long time to put together. So, I'm sorry, guys. Long story short, I won't be applying anything to the hobbies. I am eventually going to buy a kayak, but that's on down the road. Gifting, I am going to start thinking about Christmas, but again, got to finish that debt. That's my focus. Um, the $50 that I have automatically sent over to my savings account, that every $50 will go towards gifting, at least for now. I don't have any birthdays coming up. My sister's is, but I'm not going to send her a gift, so that will be fine. Um, and then I have the short-term goals. I'm not going to be applying anything to sinking funds again until I do my debt, so I'm going to close that. Memberships and subscriptions. BJ's isn't until February. This is coming out this month. It just hasn't posted yet, but it should be any day now. YNAB isn't until next month, probably the latter part of next month, so I'm not going to worry about, I'll have at least 2 paychecks before that comes up. I suppose I could put 50% in here, but all things considered, I don't think I am. And the long-term goals and investments, this is already cleared, it was covered, and we're in good shape. I did apply half of it for next month, as we can see. So half of next month is already covered. And then this is where I will want to probably assign this, but I'm just going to sit tight on that. I'm going to take this ready to be assigned, and I am going to add it to temp, and I'm going to put it in the set aside, and I'm just going to put 607.96, and I'm going to call that good. So what's going to happen with the You Need a Budget is I'll probably be doing weekly check-ins. I do have a schedule that I'd like to try and follow. I'll be doing weekly check-ins probably on Sunday, barring any things that come up. That will take any money that needs to be assigned and will cover any underfunded or even overfunded, anything that I need to do to manage the inflow and outflow. That will be just a normal weekly check-in. The other thing I'm going to do is, since we're getting close to the end of the month, I'm eventually going to reconcile all these. So at some point at the end of the month, and it'll depend on when I get paid, right, where I do my reconciliation, I will come through and reconcile all these, make sure that things that are listed here match what's on my accounts. And I can already see that there's some transaction errors in here. And I think those are by design. I think that the tracking accounts are not really meant to be updated like the other accounts, which is fine. These are not things I'm going to be looking at every single day, so I don't have a problem with that. So thinking in terms of the next video, I have had some interest in folks who want to see how my home equity line of credit search is going. And I've had a couple people say that they'd like to see both how the process went and also how I plan to spend the line of credit. And then I've also had one person say, I just really am only interested in the process because maybe they're getting ready to do the same thing. So I think what I'll do is, once it's finalized, and it's not quite finalized, I've got to go to the county tomorrow and get a document that I need to send to the person that I chose. So when that's resolved, I have the final approval. Once that's complete, what I'll do is I'll film a video. And in the first half of the video, I'll talk about how I did the process. And then how long it took. Obviously, if I don't have the funds in my account, I won't be able to say how long it took to get the funds. However, I can post an update on YouTube to say, hey, by the way, I just got the final approval, and they will disperse funds, whether you like it or not. But I'll have that be part of the conversation that I have about the HELOC process. So I'll put in YouTube chapters, so the person who's most interested in just learning about one or the other parts will quickly be able to find where that starts. So I will post that as soon as I have like I've signed the paperwork to say, yes, I want this HELOC. Please disperse the funds at your earliest convenience. But that probably will not be, it might be, it could be that Tuesday or Wednesday, it depends on how I have to get that document to them, whether if I have to mail it to them or I can send a digital copy. So it will either be a posting of the HELOC process, or it will be my budget by paycheck weekly check-in, which, let me just make sure that is correct, because I feel like at the end of the month things are a little bit different. So today is the 24th. Nope. It looks like I'll have I'll have a You Need a Budget assignment because I'll get paid on Friday. So on Friday I'll do a You Need a Budget assignment up from my paycheck. On the Saturday I'll do a Budget Mom check-in, and then on Sunday I'll do a check-in and a reconcile. So I'll have 2 YNABs next weekend, and then my check-in for the Budget Mom paycheck. And by the way, I think the workbook should be coming out in September, and I'll probably just show it. I know a lot of people do that unboxing video, so I'll probably just do a quick unboxing. It's not changed a whole lot, but I'll probably go ahead and do that as well. So that's what that's going to look like. So this is pretty much all done, and I don't have really much else to say, so I'll talk to you in the next video.